Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is James from AppTech. I will just give folks a few more minutes to join here, and then we will go ahead and get started. All right, everyone. Well, I have 2 o'clock here on my clock, so we'll go ahead and jump in here. I should be sharing my screen. If someone would please shoot me a message if you're having any problems hearing me or viewing my screen. Typically, I'll have someone else from AppTech on here who will check that for me, but I'm running with this one solo today. So please just shoot me a quick message in the messages there if you are unable to hear me or unable to actually see the screen that I'm displaying. As always, these are recorded. So if there's anyone at your company or other folks that you'd like to share this with after the fact, I'll have a recording of these that I can share. And then the goal here is to get these added to the website as well for quick access for any of our clients. But as the invite mentioned, today we are going to focus on the bank reconciliation process. So just as a reminder, these tooltip webinars are really meant to just highlight quick features and functionalities within PVNG that we think could be useful, or quick tips that we want to make sure everyone's aware of. The goal is to keep these pretty short and sweet, around 5 to 10 minutes, just highlighting various aspects. Please reach out to Kim, myself, anyone on support, Sam, any of those guys on the AppTech side if you have suggestions for what you'd like to see us cover. We've thought about doing more of an open Q&A forum, things like that, just to get clients talking about what they're doing in the system. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, please just suggest that. We're always looking for some new ideas on what content to cover. But yet today I really wanted to focus on the bank rec process. Everyone deals with it, whether that's daily or monthly or whatever frequency you might be on. We've had some changes with the bank reconciliation within PVNG over the last couple of years. So I wanted to really highlight the difference of kind of what the legacy bank rec looked like versus what this version 2 sort of looks like. And then within that version 2, we've had a couple of quick changes that have been made as well with a recent release. So I did want to highlight those. At the very end, I'm going to touch on a couple of optional features that can enhance your process that do have some cost to add. So the goal of these is to show you what's in the system and what you can use currently. So I don't want to spend much time there, but I do want to let you know there's some automation we can do in this process, that we can take a look at as a sidebar conversation if it's something you think would make sense for your organization. But I want to spend a majority of the time on just what's there, what you can use today, make sure everyone knows this capability's out there, and just how all this functions. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Maybe zoom in a little bit here for everyone. I know sometimes on the screen share, it can look a little bit zoomed out there. So so within the bank reconciliation, that's going to be located within my general ledger module here. And then within the banking dropdown is where I'm able to access that. Now, depending upon the timing of when you started utilizing PVNG, you may have seen, or you might currently see, 2 versions of bank rec out there. So the first thing I wanted to do is just explain the differences between those 2. So the original bank reconciliation module that we had in the system was really geared towards check activity. We've kind of made the strategic decision to move the bank reconciliation to more of a statement-based process that's going to be able to handle all transaction activity that you'd see on your bank statement that you get each month. So we can see on my screen here, everything's really driven on check ranges or certain check numbers and date ranges of those checks, things like that. When we move into the version 2 here, it actually runs on more of a statement-based process. So I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to focus here in version 2 for this webinar today, but I just wanted to quickly highlight kind of why those changes were made and what our goal is and kind of what we're trying to move to. The way this works is essentially you come in to generate a new bank reconciliation statement anytime you want to go through this process. I'm going to highlight some of those changes we made with the most recent release as well. So I'll just show you kind of start to finish what this looks like, how the process works, things you can do, in the interim while you're working on this, because it's not a kind of one and done. This can be an iterative process. If you're doing this, at the end of each month, but you want to work on it daily, there is the ability to come in here and sort of keep tabs on the bank rec and not actually fully reconcile transactions. And one big change that helped with that was adding this dynamic ending balance. I think some folks on the line here probably have dealt with that, where in the past when you came in to create a new bank rec in this version 2, that number got locked down and you were sort of beholden to that based on probably a number you entered from your bank statement. But if something didn't match up with it, it was difficult to fully reconcile the transactions because that balance had to match out and you had to have a difference of 0 here. That is a big change that we made that allows that to be dynamic now. So that just helps with the process, allows you to make that makes it a little bit easier for the user and allows you to reconcile those transactions a bit easier and actually change what that value looks like. So I'm going to come in here and just create one for our tooltips webinar here. Really important to make sure that you're creating this for the bank account or bank ID that you want to reconcile on. And then from there, the statement date's going to drive which transactions actually get pulled in here. So I'm going to go through November 30th. And then you do need to enter a value here. But like I said, now in this new version 2, you can change that value throughout the process. So I'm just going to throw, $100 in there to start with. And I'm going to actually load my transactions in. So now based on the date range that I've selected here, it's going to pull in all of my transaction activity up through November 30th. And really, this is anything you post to the GL that hits cash. It's going to be sent into what I'm going to call our reconcilement queue here, which is all of our transactions that are sort of sitting and waiting for us to touch here. So one nice thing with this dynamic ending balance is, really if I want to come in here and adjust that and change that to 0, and you want to be able to do a reconcilement, currently right now and not have to mess with, that balance number, I can come in here and tick off a couple of transactions here. And as we can see, that difference displayed here is actually going to be the number that I want to enter on that ending balance to be able to fully reconcile those transactions, because it's not going to allow us to do that unless that difference is 0. So like I said before, you created this statement, you'd have to enter that balance number, and then you really have to reconcile and tie those transactions down to the penny, so that difference showed 0. Now with the adjustments with that ending balance, I can actually key in a number here. That's really just going to be my difference. And with that, now showing that $0 difference here, we can see that my transactions are all tying with that $0 difference. And now I'm actually able to come in here and fully reconcile. Whereas before, you wouldn't be able, you could select transactions, go through that process, but you couldn't fully reconcile the process. So that dynamic balance there, I think, is a big change to the process that should hopefully help a lot of folks on the line here today. Once I reconcile those transactions, I can come in here. All of your reconciled statements are going to be displayed here for me. It's going to show what that ending balance ended up being, and then I'm able to come in here and drill into those specific reconcilements and take a look at those transactions that got reconciled and all that various information there. There are a couple of other tools out there with this process that help to automate that a little bit. Like I said, what I just showed you there comes with the package. That's the full bank reconciliation module that you have at your fingertips today. But if you did want to take it a step further and it's something that might make sense for the organization, we do have the ability And really, this was another add-on with this bank reconciliation version 2, was some of this import capability that was added that did not exist in the initial bank reconciliation process. So if I kind of went that same route, I'm just going to actually click into one that I've already created here to be able to show you same sort of process here. I have all of my transactions sitting, waiting for me. Now, though, if I did want to take that a step further and do some sort of an import to be able to tie to a bank statement, or import a CSV file of some sort to reconcile these transactions, there is this select option down there. And here we're able to do an upload where we would create a file that would match the bank statement layout and format. From there, you'd be able to browse out and upload a CSV file. And it's really only looking at dollar amounts. So it's going to look to match the transactions on dollar amounts. Another very, very new feature that is still, we're working through some kinks and kind of ironing out some of the bugs, but we do have an integration with a partner called Plaid that does allow you to electronically pull in transaction information from the bank on a real-time basis. So that's a kind of taking that upload step a little bit further, where you're not actually importing a file, where you are integrating directly with the banking provider. And you're able to pull transactions in electronically on the fly. And the reconcilement process, works very similarly on the matching as far as dollar amounts and whatnot. If you do decide you want to take it a step further and kind of go a route like that, when I do an upload, some of the the things that we put in place so that you know what transactions did not match, we do have an exceptions report that would be populated. So let me get that pulled up for us here. Bear with me for 1 second. I actually can't see my desktop. I had that stored there. Okay, I will actually disperse that as a follow-up here, but I'm not able to access my desktop here with the screen sharing going on in the webinar. But there's an exceptions report that would populate during that process that will show you basically any transaction that came in from the bank that did not or was not posted to the GL. So that way you have visibility to know, hey, I need to go make an entry on the accounting system and then post that and then do that upload process again, and it should tie to that transaction. So that's the nice thing here, is when you're going through this process, you don't have to necessarily reconcile those transactions. I can come in, I can select a few transactions here, I can save and close this. I can actually come back to the GL module here if I had an entry that I need to make that I saw was missing on the bank statement or something along those lines. I'd be able to come in and post to the GL, toggle back over to my bank reconciliation module, open up my statement here, and that transaction, would be listed down here at the bottom once it's posted. So these are coming in sequentially dated from oldest to new, and my bank rec's a little bit needs a little cleaning here, but that's basically the process there. Like I said, I didn't want to spend a ton of time at the end on some of those additional features. Wanted to just make sure everyone's aware that there is a bank reconciliation module out there that can be utilized. The frequency of that can be done at your choosing. So just making everyone aware of those capabilities. Like I said, this will be our last one of the year, but if anyone has any suggestions for future webinar topics, or if you have any follow-up questions on this or want to talk more about this one-on-one, please just reach out to myself or Kim or anyone on support. We'll be able to get you taken care of. And like I said, I am recording these, so if anyone would like to have access to this at a later date, just let me know and I'll get that recording out to you. Hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. Hoping everyone has happy holidays here. AppTech, we much appreciate your business. Thanks for taking the time to join us here today, and I will talk with everyone soon. Thanks.